Toto and Operation Toto. It's you out there, the viewers, the listeners, to take action. And the manifestation of Toto, pulling back the curtain in the great mighty Oz, is Roger Stone, the true Trump insider, here in the great Austin, Texas. Roger Stone, come on over here, brother.
This is the Oppo dump on Bill, Hillary, and Chelsea Clinton. Everything the American people need to know to defeat Hillary Clinton's last desperate, pathetic reach for power and wealth is in this book. Hillary Clinton's premise for her entire campaign is based on a couple simple themes. She would have us believe that she is an advocate for women and girls, when in truth, the exact opposite is true. Now, everybody knows about Bill Clinton and women. And the mainstream media would like this to be about marital infidelity, about adultery. You know, they want to convince us that Bill is kind of our lecherous old uncle who just happens to have an eye for the ladies. All wrong. Bill Clinton is a Bill Cosby-style sexual predator who has raped, overpowered, bitten, sexually assaulted, and in some cases exposed himself to dozens, perhaps more than dozens of women. Bill Clinton is a deadbeat dad. Danny Williams is a fine young man. He doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he's putting himself through college. He works 2 jobs, he works construction, and he has a small business to feed his family. But frankly, he struggles to make ends meet. His father is worth upwards of $100 million. And Danny Williams struggles to put food on the table. I ask you, what kind of people discard their son like a piece of trash? We know for a fact that one Arkansas state trooper said that he delivered presents to the small shack where Danny Williams lived with his mother every Christmas without the knowledge of Hillary Clinton. And it was Hillary who banished Danny Williams. It is Hillary who told his aunt and his mother, if you have problems with reporters asking questions, call this private detective. He'll make those questions stop. So Hillary Clinton, don't lecture us about it takes a village. Take care of your own. Acknowledge, love, nurture, hug Danny Williams. He deserves it. We're in an epic struggle today for the future of our country.
All right, I want to play a little bit more of this as the show goes along. But welcome to the Sit and Spin radio show. Back in the saddle once again. I am your host, Nick O'Kelly, here from the Mickler Studios in Charleston, South Carolina. That, of course, Roger Stone bringing us into the show this evening. Roger Stone, the consummate Trump insider, as Alex Jones calls him, but he's so much more than that, and I highly recommend. I have been reading his book, Jeb! In the Bush crime family. It is absolutely fantastic. I have not been so excited. I'm reading a couple of books right now. This political election, I'm telling you, has gotten me just so amped to be a part of this American political system. I'm proud to be able to go give my vote. I went and voted at the Republican primary just a couple of weekends ago. Of course, I voted for Donald Trump. I make no bones about that. I came out with a special report on Saturday evening giving my Donald Trump endorsement. I think it's very important to really lay out for the people who listen to this show, as many people as I can possibly reach, and I beg you, if you listen to this show, share this with your friends. Give me your opinion. You can get on the show. You can tell me your opinions in the chat box on Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com. Search for the Sit and Spin Radio Network. You can call the show as well if you just want to FaceTime me. Just get into the chat box and let me know that you'd like to be a part of the show. I'd be more than happy to take your call and really talk to you about exactly what's going on, what your opinions are on the current lay of the land politically, because it's so important that we, the people, really get involved and understand and try to make sure that one another are informed. I think a lot of people go into this election cycle. I can see it on social networking and so forth. People that are just simply uninformed with what's going on. They make statements about, and I don't really understand. You know, Trump had he had the show Celebrity Apprentice, The Apprentice, so on and so on. So many people liked this show. It was a hit. I mean, the guy is an accomplished businessman. He's a self-made billionaire. And my question is, why is it suddenly so many people have a problem with this guy? A lot of the same people that I know for a fact, friends, family, many others, I know for a fact that they watched his television show. They thought the guy was a genius. They enjoyed watching the show. And now all of a sudden he's running for president, and it's like he's a criminal. Listen, these are the type of people who are supposed to be running our government. Real American individuals, real businessmen, smart people who know, who care about the Constitution, who know what's supposed to go on in this country, who understand how to make deals and do and handle foreign policy, and who have a good understanding of how our political system works. I mean, these are the kind of people that are supposed to be in office, not career politicians who weaseled their way there by gathering enough money, fundraising, and so forth, and then they just basically use dirty tricks and underhanded dealings to stay in office. I mean, go watch House of Cards. That'll really give you a good inside look as to what is actually going on behind the scenes in Washington, D.C. I mean, I know it's fiction, but Netflix does a great job, and you can really see how dirty, how evil a lot of politics really are. It's these people who they sit around and they make legislation to give themselves more money. They cut deals with other countries and get kickbacks from it. Donald Trump talks about Rubio, how he bought a house for $150,000 or whatever it was and then sold it to a lobbyist for $300,000. These kind of things really go on. It's kickbacks that these politicians get because they sit. It's almost like insider trading in Wall Street. That's kind of what it is with politicians. They have the insider trading because they write the legislation. They vote on the legislation. They know what's coming. And so they know how to position themselves properly in order to make the most profits. And that's really what happened at 9/11. If you are still unconvinced that 9/11 was not an inside job, which it very much was, okay, bare minimum, you had a stand down ordered by the White House for NORAD. Saudi Arabia was allowed to attack the World Trade Center. It's documented in the 28 pages that are yet to be released, and this is something that Donald Trump has now come out and said that he wants to make sure is released. You will know who brought down the World Trade Center, believe me. That's a quote from Donald Trump, and I believe it. I believe him. I believe that he is the last great hope for this republic, and it's not because I think that Donald Trump is some Greek god or something. It's not because I think he's some deity that needs to be bowed down and worshiped to. Obviously, that's completely false. But what I believe in is the figurehead, the fact that Donald Trump has the ability, he has the celebrity appeal, he has the money, the funding, to he himself go in and run for president without having to worry about lobbyists, without having to worry about special interests. He can appeal to the populous public, and that's what we care about. We want to know what the people really want. And we, the people, want somebody who's going to represent us, not the special interests. And that's what has been the downfall of our society over the past 20, 30, 40 years. Since we've allowed these globalists to start getting into office, George H.W. Bush is a big one of those. And Roger Stone's book, talking about the Bush crime family, really lays that out. Really goes to explain how the Bush family came to power and how they have managed to stay in power. And you see that now with Barbara Bush. I mean, Barbara Bush is honestly, it's like she is upset that Jeb did not get his birthright or something. And it's unbelievable. It's disgusting. Jeb does not, we the people do not owe Jeb a seat in the White House. Okay? If he wants to be president, first of all, why does he want to be president? And that's the other reason why I like Donald Trump so much, because he doesn't want to be president. He doesn't care if he's president or not. And I said this at my special report. Do you realize how much power? Do you realize the lifestyle that Donald Trump will have to give up to go be in the White House? He's been preparing for this now for 2 years. That's documented. That's something else you can learn from Roger Stone if you go read his books, if you go listen to the speeches that he gives. And the one that I was playing when I came in to the show here was he's doing a book tour for his Clinton book and also the Jeb and the Bush crime family book as well. The Clinton one deals with the sex scandals by Bill Clinton and how Hillary is actually complacent. And what's very interesting is people don't understand. I made a statement the other day and was questioned. I said that Donald Trump was going to indict Hillary Clinton and that Chelsea Clinton would be sitting in the jail cell right along with her. And the person looked at me and said, for what? And I'm thinking to myself, do we really not know what's... And I think... for me, I sit around and study this stuff all the time. I read it constantly. I know what's going on. But I forget that the main public who just basically rely on the mainstream media, it's nothing that it's wrong with it. Listen, relying on the mainstream media for your news is not necessarily a bad thing because we should be able to trust the mainstream media. We should be able to trust the reporters whose job it is to go and report this stuff. But the problem is they have been bought off, okay, by the same special interests that are continuing to select our presidents in the White House. Media Matters, run by the Obama administration, is pumping so much disinformation and false information into the mainstream that people simply don't know what to believe anymore. And unless you sit around studying these things, reading the news, reading articles, for a good part of the day like I do. I mean, I get off work, I come home, and it's nothing but news. I listen to political talk shows on the radio throughout the evening. I come home from work, I go walk the neighborhood, I'm listening to political talk shows while I'm doing that. I come back into the house here, I eat some dinner, I'm watching news, I'm listening to radio political talk shows, I'm reading articles, I'm reading the Drudge Report. So I study this kind of stuff all the time, and I'm telling you, Donald Trump does care about about making America great again. He uses that slogan, and it seems so simple, but that is the goal. And he's been preparing for this now for 2 years. His life is in danger, ladies and gentlemen. He's doing this because he cares about America. I mean, he himself is a businessman. It's not about his ego. It's about his business. Do you understand that if the free country ceases to exist because of globalists like Hillary Clinton, who wish to basically loot whatever they can, whatever's maybe left, and then sell off all our assets to the New World Order, which is what was put in place by George H.W. Bush, there will not be a capitalist economy for you to make money in anymore. It doesn't matter who you are. Whether you're a billionaire like Donald Trump or whether you're selling flowers down on the corner store, you're not going to be able to make money anymore. Your dollar isn't going to mean anything anymore. These things are prophesized in the Bible. I mean, it's coming. It is on its way. And we're in trouble unless we all get behind someone who is willing to risk their lives, risk their personal fortune to try to get into the White House and repeal things like Obamacare, and to stop the crazy, ridiculous omnibus bills that are being force-fed through the Senate, to stop the fact that we're shipping off $150 billion to Iran. How crazy is this? But this is what's going on, and Trump, I believe, is the consummate savior for the Republic. And again, I'm not talking about him being a Jesus Christ, okay? I'm talking about him coming back in and restoring the Republic, and you see it. You know it's true because the establishment is scared to death. I mean, Rubio, at this point, the establishment, the Koch brothers, and that's one thing that Roger Stone laid out. I'm not going to continue to just repeat everything I said on Saturday night, but the Koch brothers now came out and have raised $75 million to try to literally stop Trump at the Republican National Convention by getting behind Marco Rubio. Have you noticed that you don't see any slam campaign ads on television by the Trump campaign? All you see are campaign ads from the Rubio campaign, from the Cruz campaign against Trump. You hear all of the political insiders coming out against Trump. I even saw Ben Stein earlier today, and I like a lot of what Ben Stein says. I lost a lot of respect for him when I heard this, but it's on Breitbart. We got the clip queued up in there. Ben Stein, terrifying, but I'm not even sure Hillary can beat disaster Trump. Why is he a disaster? I mean, this man is literally a success at everything he's touched. Monday on CNN's Newsroom, while discussing a protest at Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump's rally in Virginia, former speechwriter Nixon and Ford speechwriter, actor, and author Ben Stein said, while Trump is not a racist, he is a cult figure that is terrifying and will be a disaster.
By it, I have to say, Brooke, a few times. He just, at one point, there was another protest. He just didn't seem to know what to do with that protest at this point. And we should point out the Trump campaign is not commenting beyond just a small statement saying that they're referring questions to local law enforcement about this incident, Brooke.
I want to stay on this. Jim Acosta, thank you so much for the detail there. You were there at Radford University. You witnessed this yourself. Let me bring in our CNN chief political correspondent, Dana Bash, also CNN chief political analyst, Gloria Borger, and actor and economist Ben Stein, who used to be a speechwriter for President Richard Nixon. Welcome to all of you. Dana, to you first. I mean, listen, you have been on the trail for months and months and months. You've covered a number of these candidates, including Mr. Trump himself. You know, when you see these protesters holding hands on a day that Donald Trump is already taking heat for not disavowing, you know, the controversy involving David Duke and the KKK when he was on with Tapper yesterday, have you seen it this heated?
No, not even close. Look, Donald Trump has made it kind of a part of his act, for lack of a better way to say it, to when a protester screams or tries to interrupt during one of his rallies, he'll stop and he will say, get him out, get him out. He things like, I want to punch that guy in the face. But this is a completely different level. And it's not necessarily so much about the way Trump and I guess perhaps in this case the Secret Service is reacting, but in terms of the way the protesters appear to organize. Unclear if it has anything to do with what he said yesterday or just the where we are on the calendar and how close we are to Super Tuesday and how close we are to the front runner being more than the front runner on the Republican side, Brooke.
Gloria, I mean, this is an example of how we're hearing from now a number of prominent Republicans. Yeah. The Republican Party is splintered over the possibility of, Donald Trump truly becoming the Republican nominee. And I'm just wondering your thoughts on that and what any Republicans can do about it.
Well, I've been on the phone all day with Republicans, and these latest comments seem to have taken them sort of over the edge here. Mitt Romney, as you know, just tweeted out that what Trump said was disqualifying and disgusting. I just spoke with a Republican who
what's
said,
really interesting about this, and we're going to let it continue to play here. First of all, I said on Saturday night, watch for Mitt Romney to come out because he's waiting in the wings. The Republican National Convention, this is a trick they're going to pull here, is planning to bring Mitt Romney into place if Rubio loses Florida. And I've got so much information to go over. I don't know how I'm going to get to all of it, but I also have an article talking about how the Florida governor is actually set to endorse Trump as well. You can hear in the voices here on CNN, these people are scared to death that Trump may get into office. And let me tell you why. It's because if he was to get into office, the backdoor deals, the kickbacks, all of these kind of things will come to an end, and the money is going to get transferred back to we the people. And that's what the political class is completely scared of. Organizations like CNN, who are basically funded by the Democrats and by George Soros and so on and so forth, that's not going to continue. They're not going to have anything to report on anymore because these things are going to have an end put to them. And they're talking about a protest that happened with Black Lives Matter and Donald Trump's response to it. Here comes the Ben Stein quote, though. This is what I was wanting to get to. We started this video kind of early, guys, but we've got this now coming up. And, it looks like we've got some other issues here. But, okay, the point is, what happened is that Donald Trump...
here we
go.
Okay,
hold on.
Where
Ben Stein.
someone could indeed be the nominee.
I've never seen anything like it. It's the most messed up, to be polite, political situation I've ever seen. But I will say, as regards what we're seeing on TV with the Black Lives Matter demonstration at Radford College or Radford University, every single time these guys shout Black Lives Matter, that's 1,000 more votes for Donald Trump. I mean, Donald Trump is no racist. It's a ridiculous thing to call him an anti-black racist. Every time they shout and interrupt him, it makes white people want to vote for him. I suspect, I don't know, I haven't polled anyone, but I think George Wallace used to say, every time you interrupt me, and George Wallace was a big segregationist, he used to say, every time you interrupt me, that's 100,000 more votes for him. At this point, I don't think Donald Trump can be stopped, and I think these demonstrators have pushed him into a commanding front-runner position.
Brooke, if I might add to that, I think Ben is exactly right in terms of the voters, which is all that really matters right now, right? I mean, the voters are the ones with the voices. However, as you're seeing these protests, and potentially it is rallying Trump's base even more, and maybe broadening his base. You're seeing the tweet that Gloria just showed from Mitt Romney, and Ken Mehlman, the former RNC chair, just put on his Facebook page: leaders don't need research to reject Klan support. And then he went on and on. So to Gloria's point, you have even more than ever, you kind of have the voters and people who want change in Washington versus a coalescing Republican establishment saying, okay, maybe you want change, but this guy is not the person to do it. And it is really kind of crystallizing those two camps by the hour.
You know, and I don't know how you put Humpty Dumpty back together again, right? Because these are, there is such a civil war going on in the Republican Party right now that I think to break it up may be the only way eventually to get it all on the same page. And I think the voters have the ultimate voice here, but now you hear all kinds of talk, whether it's legitimate or not, about a potential brokered convention. There are campaigns that have scenarios about it. You just don't know how
it's such a conspiracy theory that they might have a brokered convention. This is a well-known fact. I mean, these people are like clowns on television.
That Trump will win.
Send in the clowns, seriously.
Them $1,000. They couldn't have done more for him than what they've done today.
Wow. Ben, if he is the nominee, what do you think it means for the Republican Party in, say, 4 years?
Terrifying. Terrifying.
How is it terrifying? You know, these are the same people that were praising the name, maybe not Ben Stein, of Barack Obama when he was starting a movement. If you remember back when Barack Obama first started running, you had, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people coming out. You remember the big speech in Germany that he gave where it was something like 100,000 people came out to see him. But nobody said that was terrifying. I was terrified then. I was sitting on the air at that point saying, this is completely terrifying. Because this guy is not a capitalist. He is not an American. He cares nothing about Christianity. He's going to come into office and put us on a path to pure-on tyrannical socialism, fascism. It's really more like a corporate fascism that's sitting on top of us now. And that's exactly what's happened. I mean, he's done nothing but attack the Constitution. Obamacare is completely illegal. It's been ruled as such in the Supreme Court, and yet outside of law, he's still forced it down our throats. Outside of law, he's opened up the borders. Outside of law, illegal immigrants are being allowed to vote and so forth. I mean, the guy is, but nobody said anything about it when he was starting a movement. But now Trump is starting a populist movement, one that is really cared about by the people, the grassroots of America, who believe in the Constitution, who want to see a restoration done to our Republican. Let me say this. I don't even care about some of the stuff they're bringing up about his past. Oh, he gave money to the Hillary Clinton Foundation and so forth. Yeah, because it was sold to him as a charity. I don't care about that stuff. What I care about is what he believes in right now, and that is restoring this republic. And we see that because he is risking his life by going on television and saying, Jeb Bush, your brother was, it was during his watch that the World Trade Center came down. And what happened? Jeb Bush quit the race. I mean, that is power, ladies and gentlemen. And Donald Trump, because he's not bought off by anybody, is getting up there and saying this stuff. The guy's wearing a bulletproof vest at all time. He's got incredible security around him. It's incredible. He's really risking his life, and that's why we have to really get behind the figurehead and ride the wave until he betrays us, and then we put the next person in. Hopefully he won't, but I'm just saying that's what we have to do. That's what politics is all about. It's not about career politicians getting into office and then doing whatever they can to stay in office so that they can continue to ride the gravy train and get all the money. And like I said, the establishment being so scared of him, for me, is an endorsement for Trump himself. I mean, we see this from the Washington Post today. Even before Super Tuesday, which, of course, is today, Clinton is thinking about a likely I'm sorry, not today. Tomorrow, Super Tuesday tomorrow, Clinton is thinking about a likely matchup with Trump, less than 24 hours. Hillary Clinton and her allies are shifting their attention to a likely general election contest against Donald Trump that they expect to be strongly negative and for which they are planning an intensive effort to draw out minority voters who feel demonized by the billionaire real estate mogul. Clinton is still waging a hard-fought nomination battle against Bernie Sanders of Vermont. He's done. He's finished. Forget about it. I mean, anybody out there listening to the show actually think Bernie Sanders still stands a chance at winning the Democratic nomination? Hillary Clinton is stealing it from him. Even if he did win it in a populist vote, let me tell you, Hillary Clinton is going to steal it from him. She's going to get the nomination. And all of you Bernie supporters out there, I hope that you jump on the Trump bandwagon because I hope you realize you are betrayed by the Democrats. They care nothing about you. All they care about is continuing to loot this country and turn us into a third world nation so they can sell off our assets. It is all a global plan leading into something called the New World Order. It is coming. Read your Bible. I'm telling you, it's all over the place, and you can see it lining up. The Pope's out there crossing our border in Mexico, making a complete... We are a joke. When the Pope crosses the border to prove the point that it's possible, first of all, to cross the border illegally, but then also telling us that we need to accept more immigrants when he's got 200-foot walls all around his office, okay, that makes us a joke. Understand Vicente Fox coming out on television and saying he's not building or paying for that effing wall, that is making us a joke. When China comes out and tells us what movies we can and cannot play because it's racist or because they don't like it, that makes us a joke. And like I said, look for Mitt Romney. He's coming. He's waiting in the wings. And I did agree with the one thing that the girl on CNN said, that there is a major civil war in the Republican Party right now, and it's because the establishment rhinos are scared to death. Because a lot of these guys, let me tell you something, a lot of them are complicit in the criminal activities of George W. Bush, in the criminal activities of Barack Obama and Bill Clinton. Okay, the fact that they didn't block these legislations that are outside of law, the fact that what's-his-face is coming out saying that, you know, he'll probably go ahead and put through Barack Obama's endorsement for the Supreme Court. Listen, as a final term president, you're not supposed to appoint a Supreme Court nominee. Which is why, did you know that? Well, hold on. Shocker of the night. Did anybody realize this? A final term president is not supposed to appoint a Supreme Court nomination because he's going out of office. It was designed that way so that we didn't get stuck with people that we didn't like or that he couldn't just try to railroad through somebody. And we've all at this point, and I'm ranting. I haven't been on the radio in so long. I'm so excited. But we've all forgotten at this point about Scalia, haven't we? It's very interesting that now, after 10 years, Justice Clarence Thomas breaks his silence during arguments for the first time in 10 years. NBC Washington has this report. Justice Clarence Thomas stunned lawyers, reporters, and others at the Supreme Court on Monday when he posed questions during an oral argument for the first time in 10 years. It was the second week the court has heard arguments since the death of Justice Antonin Scalia. Of course, they were very good friends and fellow conservative. Thomas, for years, sat directly to Scalia's right. Scalia's chair is now draped in black in a tribute to his death, which, okay, very strange things surrounded that whole situation. And I wasn't on the air to talk about it, but it's come out now that he was actually a part of a secret society fronting as a hunting club, but really what it was, the St. Huberton Society, it's really basically the Texas chapter of the Illuminati. Very, very strange situation. A lot of strange things going on at these secret societies. Drug use, sexual activities, so on and so on. I don't want to get into the whole thing. So it's very, very weird what happened with his death. At first, it really did seem like it was a straight-up murder. And the timing of the whole thing is what made it seem that way. It made it seem like perhaps, I mean, you have to look at when someone of high value like that dies, regardless of his age. The guy wasn't in that bad of health. And not only that, the other strange part about this was it was Valentine's Day weekend. Instead of being home with his wife, he's off in a remote area of Texas, very remote area, by the way, and you can go check out where it is and look up online videos of it. InfoWars did a great job covering the whole thing. But he's at a remote secret society hunting club instead of being with his wife. Very strange. But anyway, at first it seemed like it was a straight-up murder because it was 6 days after he voted down the green agenda for Obama, which is trillions of dollars for that industry. And, of course, also right before Obama leaves office, giving him the opportunity to appoint yet another Supreme Court appointee, his third, I believe, in his presidency. That's a big deal. And that's a game changer for this nation because it would give the majority vote to basically the liberals, of which that Obama's appointed, care nothing about our Constitution. I mean, you can just go look at Loretta Lynch and Sotomayor and Loretta Lynch is who he says he's going to appoint next and so forth, what their records are, the things that they stand for. So the timing of it was very, very strange. But now that this whole thing about the secret society has come out, it brings up questions of, okay, maybe there was some kind of rituals going on. Maybe he was taking some, pleasurable medications or something. Who knows? And maybe his heart did really give out. But regardless, it was a cover-up. I mean, it was just basically a black and white textbook cover-up going on. He had a private jet waiting at the airport for him. And what did they do? They drove him 3 hours to El Paso, wasn't it? Where then they flew him from El Paso to Virginia to have his blood drained. I mean, and then they just discarded. It came out that they discarded when they did the embalming. They dumped the blood and so forth down a toilet. I mean, all of these things could have been put in for investigation. No autopsy was given. Very, very strange surroundings this whole thing. It was a bare minimum cover-up. So anyway, Justice Thomas, a very good friend of his, and so now Thomas's questions came in a case in which the court is considering placing new limits on the reach of a federal law that bans people convicted of domestic violence from owning guns. And you see here an attack once again on the Second Amendment. And luckily, we have Clarence Thomas stepping up to the plate to try to protect the U.S. citizens from legislation that will systematically destroy our Constitution. That was Scalia for the longest time. And now Clarence Thomas, who is, by the way, conducting or is integral in a private and also federal investigation into Scalia's death. He's integral in making that happen and making sure that happened. And he's also at the same time stepping up to the plate as well. So that's big news. But several different articles have come out about this now. Steve Watson also wrote one at InfoWars. The two urged MSNBC viewers that the Supreme Court needs an African-American voice, and this is a bizarre exchange on Al Sharpton's Sunday MSNBC show. Both he and Black Democratic Representative Karen Bass floated the idea that Obama needs to nominate an African-American to the Supreme Court because Clarence Thomas isn't really black. I'm not kidding. I have the video right here.
No idea where the president is leaning in terms of making a nomination or who he would name But I'm starting to hear a new buzz around the name Loretta Lynch, the sitting attorney general.
Well, I think many people would like to see an African-American on the Supreme Court. We don't really need to go into Clarence Thomas's background or his behavior on the court, but I think to have an African-American voice that has definitely not been there since Thurgood Marshall would really be an incredible contribution to our country. And, you know, I'm sure that the president is going to nominate somebody that it's going to make it very hard for the Republicans to come up with a legitimate justification for why they won't conduct a hearing. But let's see. I'm hoping public pressure will make them do their job.
Do you think that whomever the president would nominate, be they African American or not, that would be more moderate, would in any way temper some of the hostility of the Republicans to going on with the process? Or no matter what he did, no matter who he nominated, there's some that are going to dig in and try to stall this until we have a new president?
Well, I actually think it's both. I think that there will be senators that will feel a tremendous amount of pressure if he nominates a moderate, and then I think there's other senators who are going to dig their heels in. You know, one of McConnell's points is that we need to wait into the election until the people have spoken. Well, what did the people do over the last two elections? The president was nominated with clear majorities. There was no dispute about his election, and so given that the people have spoken, what holds them back? The only thing that holds them back is the fact that they have had difficulty for almost 7.5 years accepting the fact that Barack Obama is the president of the United States. It's so sad considering the rest of the world has certainly accepted that and has held the president in high esteem.
All right, Congresswoman Karen Bass, and I might note neither you or I are suggesting Clarence Thomas is not African-American. We just may agree with how he has
It's an African-American voice.
That's right. All right, I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you very much again.
Listen, as they laugh and promote disinformation, I mean, this is unbelievable. Do you think that they're going to dig their heels in and not allow – well, they should not allow him to appoint a Supreme Court nomination because he's not supposed to. It's his last it's his last year in office. He's not supposed to. I mean, you know, that's just the bottom line here. And it just blows my mind that they just go on TV and say whatever they want to and try to discredit Trump as much as they want, and they try to, you know, it's just unbelievable. Unfortunately, I'm rambling here. I'm a bit of scatterbrained tonight because I've just got so much to go over. But Brit Hume has come out as well on Hillary emails. And like I said, Hillary really lining up because she knows now that the nomination is going to be Trump. Yes, there's civil war in the Republican Party. You've got Rubio and Cruz. Cruz is basically reaching out to the Rubio campaign saying, hey, if you'll give me the Supreme Court nomination, then I'll drop out of the race, which is borderline illegal, definitely unethical, but nevertheless that happened. As far as I understand from Roger Stone and others, that the Rubio campaign said no dice, but look for that to happen as well. Koch-funded senator wants new candidate to thwart Trump, confirms Roger Stone's warning, and this is what I was saying, that Mitt Romney might be coming out as well, depending on whether or not Rubio is able to win Florida. But the very interesting thing is that the Florida governor, and I actually was going to get to this just a few minutes ago, but I skipped over it, but the Florida governor is set to endorse Trump, believe it or not, in Rubio's own state. Last-minute Super Tuesday press conference fuels speculation of another high-profile endorsement. Republican Florida Governor Rick Scott may soon endorse presidential frontrunner Donald Trump, the Washington Examiner is reporting, following news of a last-minute Super Tuesday press conference at the candidate's Mar-a-Lago club in Florida. Rumors are swirling that the state governor could be preparing to back the billionaire hotel mogul. Quote, some speculate that Florida Governor Rick Scott could announce his support of Trump at the press conference, which is scheduled 2 weeks before Florida's Republican primary. Although Governor Scott is yet to officially support any candidate, An endorsement of Trump would be a major embarrassment and blow to the campaign of Marco Rubio, who has held office in Florida for over 15 years. The backing of Scott would add yet another high-profile endorsement to Trump's growing list of conservative supporters, which include, of course, Governor Christie, who came out on Friday, as well as Jan Brewer and Jeff Sessions, who also endorsed over the weekend at the Trump rally yesterday with 30,000 people. It was unbelievable. I've got a clip of that as well in case you missed it. But Senator Jeff Sessions endorses Trump right here.
Wow, Richard Reeves, we're about to go to break, but I tell you, to be inside these meetings, you've been there with all the stuff coming out, and it's hard to just sit back and be quiet about it. Sessions will be endorsing him on this day, and blah, blah, blah. And just to see it all happen. I mean, Stone is a dynamo. This guy's, 65, 66 years old. He's got more energy than I do at 11 o'clock at night, after he's already been on air all day long. Really exciting to be in the middle of this and be fighting for America, Richard.
Well, at some point in the near future, I'm sure we're going to see Donald Trump, Roger Stone, and yourself, three human dynamos that probably sleep 3 or 4 hours each a night, and you're going till you wake up at 4 or 5 a.m. and go to work, and you work all day until 2 or 3 a.m. So it's crazy to see you guys all working so hard. But as a matter of fact, one thing you just mentioned about the Jeff Sessions situation, right as you guys were interviewing, right just now live when you guys, Roger and yourself, were on the radio right now interviewing, Jeff Sessions came out and spoke at the Madison, Alabama event with Donald Trump, and he put the hat on, Make America Great. So that endorsement with Jeff Sessions just happened. So that was really powerful to see.
Well, I tell you, this is the attempt to take down the country, and the power structure, hasn't been perfect, but a really evil one is taking over right now. A clean top.
Well, that wasn't actually the Jeff Sessions. We're a little mixed up on our clips here that we've got queued up, but anyway, that was the InfoWars report about it. But anyway, Jeff Sessions did come out. I watched that yesterday. You can actually go see that on YouTube, where Trump is giving the speech to about 30,000 people. And this was one thing that I wanted to get back to when I was talking about the Ben Stein clip a little bit earlier in the show. They were coming out talking about what happened was Ben Stein said he was terrified, and the other two were saying that he was a racist and so on. What actually happened was that he was asked by a reporter, what do you think about David Dukes? And if you don't know who David Dukes is, he's a former Grand Dragon of the KKK and so forth back in the 60s. The guy, he says some things that are good, but really he's very anti-Semitic. David Dukes is almost a cult leader. I mean, obviously Donald Trump. Let me just set the record straight. Donald Trump is not a cult leader. And it just drives me nuts to hear people saying this, because the guy is a businessman. He's not a cult leader. I mean, he's a billionaire businessman, But David Dukes has come out and endorsed Donald Trump. And so they were asking him at a conference, what do you think about David Dukes? And when it happened, and this is being reported by Donald himself, he said that they turned down his earpiece so that he couldn't hear what they were asking. And so the response immediately was, which groups? What did you say? And people took that to mean that he was making a racist comment against black people and Jewish people and so on and so forth. Listen, Donald Trump is not a racist. And at the convention yesterday, at the rally that he held with 30,000 people where Jeff Sessions endorsed him, and you can go watch the whole thing on YouTube. I watched it yesterday. There was a Black Lives Matter protest that basically marched through, and of course they were escorted out, and everybody's saying, okay, well, Donald Trump's a dictator now, and there's another video I can play as well where a Trump security man, a journalist came up to his security person and chest bumped the guy and said, F you, and so the security person, doing what he's supposed to do, grabbed the guy and basically slammed him to the ground, because that's what he should do as a security person. Let me tell you something. Donald Trump has tight security. Very, very tight security around him. The best of the best. It's not just the Secret Service, and that absolutely is what he needs. So people are saying, oh, well, Trump's a dictator, and, his reporters are body slamming journalists to the ground and so forth. I mean, Barack Obama has been extreme. Talking about someone who says he's very transparent. I mean, he's done nothing but shut the media out. They only let people in who are vetted by the Obama administration and have pre-planned questions. This is the exact opposite of Donald Trump. But the response that Donald Trump gave during his rally was that indeed all lives matter. And you can hear that right here.
You're going to hear this. You're going to hear it once. You're going to hear this. You're going to hear it once. All right, folks, you're going to hear it once. All lives matter. All lives matter.
And you can hear that crowd responding to him as he says that. He had to say that because he had the protesters. When we got 30,000 people there, you're going to have, especially when it's a politically fueled rally, you're going to have some people coming through and protesting or whatever. I mean, I guess it's their right to protest if they want to. It's a little annoying when they come into these rallies. If they don't like Trump, why do they come? But nevertheless, Donald Trump is not a racist. Okay? Black Lives Matter is funded by George Soros. You can go look that up. It's been proven. But nevertheless, we have the establishment scared to death, like I said, coming out against Trump. They hardly know what to do with themselves. And as a result of that, you have the mainstream media just presenting this disinformation on a regular basis. It's very hard to decide who to trust anymore. And that's why I've given up on it. I don't watch any of them. I don't watch Fox News. I don't watch CNN. I monitor these stations to try to get an idea of what's out there, what are they saying, what is the propaganda, the flavor of the week, basically. I read the Drudge Report on a daily basis. I listen to Michael Savage. Okay, I don't make any bones about this. I listen to Alex Jones and read up on Infowars.com. These are the platforms that I highly recommend you go check out because they purport the truth. Okay? They don't spin it. Fox News says they're fair and balanced, and yet you have Brit Hume here, and this is what I wanted to get to Monday on Fox News Channel's Outnumbered show. This is Pam Key from Breitbart reporting. While discussing the possibility of Democratic presidential frontrunner Hillary Clinton being indicted as a result of the current FBI investigation into her handling of classified material on an unsecured email server, Fox News senior political contributor Brit Hume said there were enough questions about the circumstances of Clinton's case that an indictment isn't a slam dunk. Can you believe this? Of course it is. Hillary Clinton should be going to jail. She could go to jail on any number of counts. The email thing is probably the smallest in comparison to the other things that she's done. Okay? Benghazi, Libya. Have we forgotten that Hillary Clinton is the one that said we came, we saw, he died? Muammar Gaddafi may not have been a great guy, but there was freedom coming to Libya in small amounts. The same thing with Assad and Syria. I mean, these people aren't really great people, but it's not like they're as oppressive as, a Mao or dictators of old, okay? So why do we get involved in Libya? Why do we go topple Gaddafi? Well, the whole point of it was to bring in radical Islam and to allow them to terrorize the entire country for destabilization so that we can then come in and soak up all the assets and natural resources, and that's exactly what happened. And this is the legacy of Hillary Clinton, going in and, as Secretary of State anyway, going in and toppling regimes for the benefit of the imperialist American regime is what I would almost call it. But then you got people like Brit Hume here saying, well, it's not a huge deal. You don't have any criminal intent. Criminal intent You have criminal negligence. You could indict her on any number of things. But this email scandal is just an example. They're trying to whitewash the whole thing. And why hasn't there been an indictment? I mean, how many emails have we released at this point? How much criminality does there have to be before you indict somebody? Is she too big to be indicted? It's like the banks, they're too big to fail. Is that what we're seeing? We're seeing a whitewash by the mainstream media. And if you really dig down into this, you say to yourself, well, Fox News is fair and balanced. I like Fox News. Listen, I don't think everybody on Fox News is a bad person. You know, you got Sean Hannity who speaks out, who says the right things. The problem is Rupert Murdoch. The guy behind the entire channel is a Hillary Clinton supporter. Hillary Clinton has this country by the balls, I'm telling you. And that's why Donald Trump can beat her. Marco Rubio is working for the DNC. I guarantee it. He's working for the DNC. He is a shill. And that's why everybody's seeing through his crap now. And so they're gearing up Mitt Romney. But you can take a listen here to Britt Hume.
That I talked to. And I had dinner with a couple of friends last night, and they really believe that she won't be indicted. They really believe that none of this stuff rises to the level where she will actually be charged with a series of crimes. And that's so surprising to me. But
it's worth remembering. David Petraeus was convicted of a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
Now, that was bargained down, no doubt. But if you look at, I read various legal analyses of these.
All right, let's just take that first statement here real quick. David Petraeus committed maybe a third the size of the crime that Hillary Clinton here has in this situation. And he spent time in jail. So they're going to try to whitewash it and say, well, David Petraeus basically got away with it. David Petraeus went to jail, okay? Hillary Clinton has released, 10, 15 times the amount of classified information that he did. And Hume's going to whitewash it. Take a listen.
And a good case can be made that there's an indictable felony here, and a very good case can also be made that there's not. My guess is that she won't be indicted.
Agreed.
Think about this for a minute. If you come down to it, and she's nominated by one of the major parties, and you have not a huge case, and you don't have any criminal intent, are you going to indict? Is it wise to indict a nominee of a major party? Is that the right way to do it?
Well,
is that the right
thing to do? There's a crime.
Well,
I mean, broken the law.
It depends.
Not only that, Britt, the fact that her staff took the classified information and moved it to a public server, and then the conspiracy to try and hide it, that alone is a felony punishable of up to 10 years.
That is, but who's likely to be indicted? I think it's far more likely.
I agree that she's not going to get indicted. I don't see them bringing charges.
They might indict some members of her staff.
I agree.
Especially considering
whether they'll indict her, I think is very much in doubt.
Yeah, speaking of the Clintons' new fallout.
Well, they're definitely not going to indict her. Okay, and it's because she's blackmailed all of Washington. And again, Roger Stone has documented this. It's documented information. You can see it all. Former RNC chairman, evidence shows Hillary Clinton never qualified for security clearance. That's pretty interesting information as well. That's out of Breitbart. Patrick Howley writing, Hillary Clinton never actually met the official requirements to obtain a security clearance to handle classified information, according to a growing body of evidence. Quote, that is exactly the conclusion here based on the evidence. Former Republican National Committee Chairman Michael Steele told Breitbart News. The process is the process. The protocols are the protocols, Steele said, noting that when you look at internal State Department evidence, quote, this conclusion is where you'll end up. Steele called the evidence presented here below a case that everyone is going to have to pay attention to. When Hillary Clinton started her career at the State Department, she was required to sign a, quote, classified information non-disclosure agreement, and that's known as the SF-312, vowing to give back classified materials when she left the agency. Clinton signed that form in January of 2009, but if you look at the copy of the document that the State Department released, you'll find something very jarring. No one from the State Department actually signed it. Beneath Clinton's signature, there is a box labeled acceptance with the message, the undersigned acceptant this agreement on behalf of the United States government. That box is left completely blank, and there's a copy of it here on Breitbart News that you can go look at for yourself. And in the box showing that a witness observed execution of the contract, the signature line is redacted by the State Department, and the date is written in the same handwriting that Clinton used to write the date in her own signature box. So not only is she releasing classified information, she's not even supposed to have it to begin with, and there's evidence to show that. So you can indict Hillary on so many different levels, but she's gearing up for a one-on-one with Donald Trump because she knows Donald Trump is going to be the Republican nominee. It's going to happen. I'm telling you, it is a movement at this point, and it's because Donald Trump is appealing to the people. He's saying the right things. He's coming out and saying, hey, our borders are wide open. This is crazy. The wall, okay, yeah, I mean, I'd love to see the wall. That's not why I'm voting for Trump. I think we could use one. It worked for Israel. And by the way, he brought in to that rally yesterday a bunch of Disney workers who assailed Rubio in front of thousands. That is coming out of Breitbart as well. Julia Hahn at Donald Trump's Sunday rally at Madison City Stadium. Two of Marco Rubio's own constituents are former Disney workers Leo Pereiro and Dina Moore, detailed on camera and to the entire crowd why they are endorsing Donald Trump for president. And it has everything to do with the fact that they have been replaced by foreign guest workers who were brought into the country on the wage-depressing H-1B visa, which is pushed through by the Obama administration. Before they were let go, however, they were informed that they'd have to suffer the humiliation of training these lesser-skilled former replacements in a process known as knowledge transfer. That's what they call it in the industry. While Donald Trump has called on Disney to hire back every one of its workers and has pledged to stop H-1B American job theft as president, Marco Rubio has pushed to expand this controversial program. Now, you've got Marco Rubio coming out in the debates and slamming Trump for having illegal workers on the construction sites. Do you know how many illegal workers are running around this country trying to get jobs in construction sites and so forth? When you hire tens of thousands of people, eventually you're going to run into somebody who probably has paperwork that may not be completely legitimate. My own father works for a furniture manufacturer. I'm not going to give the name. And they had to go through and do a purge a few years ago of illegal immigrants. I mean, the thing is, it happens sometimes. You hire these people, you know, and you find out that they're not legitimate, and so they get fired. Donald Trump is not personally responsible for going to every single construction site. Do you have any idea how many buildings he's actually built? He doesn't go to every single construction site and personally hire every single person. But he is responsible for the fact that tens of thousands of people have been put to work. That should be, in my opinion, the headline. But instead, Marco Rubio's trying to make the headline that there were some of those people, I don't know, maybe 5% out of 100,000 who were potentially illegal, even though he has no real documented evidence. We do, however, have documented evidence that Marco Rubio has pushed to expand this H-1B legislation, which allows corporations who replace their own workforce with illegal immigrants tax discounts, kickbacks from the government, so on and so forth, the ability to do so and legally pay them a lower wage because of it. Disney, however, happens to be one of Senator Rubio's top financial backers. Now, listen, I love Disney World. I'm going for my honeymoon. I hate to see this, and I hope that Donald Trump does get them to hire back all of their workers because, in my opinion, it's absolutely abhorrent, disgusting, and that's what I understand. An economist like Ben Stein can come out and say that he's terrified of Trump because, you know, he thinks it's a disaster and so on, but yet Trump is sitting here saying, look, we're going to get rid of the H-1B. We're going to repeal Obamacare. We're going to do all these great things. We're going to make America great again because we don't win anymore. And when he says that, what he's talking about is the fact that we're taking all these illegal immigrants in from South America and Mexico and so forth, but what's Mexico doing? They're profiting off of it. We're giving these other countries billions of dollars to build up their infrastructure. And what do we get back? We get their vagabonds. We get our economy collapsing because we are basically forced through humiliation to allow in their illegal immigrants. You got the Pope running around saying that, we're a terrible people in a terrible country because we're not taking in any more illegal immigrants. And he's doing the same thing all over Europe. It's collapsing economies across Europe. The EU is having real issues. I mean, there is an actual immigrant crisis. Norway, Sweden, these countries are collapsing from the inside out because they're taking in too many refugees, quote unquote. How many actual refugees can there possibly be from Syria? Eventually it has to run out, right? How many people are left in Syria? That's my question. And why is it that the people who are going around saying that other countries need to take them are the ones who aren't taking refugees themselves, like Saudi Arabia, like Vatican City, like Mexico, who is the one shipping them in to America? They're not taking any immigrants. It is absolutely disgusting, but Trump wants to put a stop to this, and that's why. Okay, that's why the establishment is coming out against him, because they don't want this stuff to stop. They're looting the country. They're complicit in illegal activities. They know it. And they know that once Trump gets into office and an audit to the Fed is conducted and these criminal activities are investigated, that they're all going to jail and the gravy train is over. And I'm telling you, that's what I can't wait for. Voice of the elite, Trump must be stopped. That's Paul Joseph Watson writing. The thought of him anywhere near high office is terrifying. The Economist, which is a publication that has come to be regarded as a megaphone for elitist sentiment, has published a leading editorial piece that argues Donald Trump must be stopped from winning the presidency. Entitled "Time to Fire Trump," the editorial worries that Hillary Clinton may lose her slight lead over Trump in national polling if the U.S. economy falls back into recession. Her slight lead? What, are you kidding me? I believe Trump, I read this on Drudge today, has just gotten to, what was it? Was it 49% nationally? Anyway, it doesn't matter. It says, quote, "He is so unpredictable that the thought of him anywhere near high office is terrifying. He must be stopped." The article goes on to claim that Marco Rubio is still the establishment's best hope of eclipsing Trump and that Ted Cruz should get out of his way. Well, he's working on doing that. Like I said, that's the big news from the weekend, is that Ted Cruz is trying to get the Rubio campaign to promise him a Supreme Court nomination, and he will drop out of the race. Look for Cruz to drop out, because he's done. Just like Rand Paul, he's going to run back and try to win back his seat in Texas and so on. Trump, it says, has prospered by inciting hatred and violence, according to the piece. Hatred and violence? Where do they get off saying this stuff? At what point has Trump purported hatred and violence? Is it because he's saying that we need a wall and we need to deport these people who are here illegally? How is that hatred and violence? That's common sense. I'm so sick of these liberals. And they're not even real liberals. That's the whole thing. Thomas Jefferson was a liberal. Okay? They're not liberals. Liberal means that you care about liberty. It doesn't mean that you care about trendy crap like allowing illegals into this country when our economy can't support it. We can't support it. We don't have the money for this. I mean, look, I don't even know how to give a good example. If you're a lower class family, and you see it all the time, the only way to make money is to have a bunch of kids and live on welfare. You can't afford it. I mean, you can't afford it unless someone is going to give you free money, which nothing's free. I mean, someone else is paying for it. But unless someone's giving you handouts, how do you afford to walk around with 6 kids when you have a part-time job and your wife doesn't work? It's not possible. Okay, something has to give at some point. Our economy cannot sustain all of these people piling into our country under the promise that they're going to get freebies from the Democratic Party. But yet that's what they promise them. They get them in here and they use them as a voting bloc, and then they turn their backs on them. Excuse me, and that's exactly what Hillary Clinton's going to do to the black community. Louis Farrakhan came out yesterday and gave a speech about how Hillary Clinton is a wicked woman. And I mean, it was absolutely amazing. It was amazing to hear this guy. I don't necessarily, I don't agree with a lot of the things, I guess, that Louis Farrakhan says. I think he's definitely become a much more centered individual. Used to be he was indeed very radical. He used to say a lot of things that were violent towards white people and so on. He's come a long way from that as far as that goes, and has certainly started speaking out and saying a lot of things that are true. But he came out as well and said that Hillary Clinton was extremely wicked, which will go a long way, I think, when you have someone like him saying something like that to the black community. I think it'll go a long way to wake up that community and help them to understand that it's important to really be educated before you go vote, and not just go vote because someone promises you that they're gonna, that they're gonna help out the black people or whatever. I mean, Hillary Clinton goes and says that because she believes that you're stupid enough to just go vote for her because she says it. She doesn't think that you're going to actually research it. Let me see if I can find this, because I'm having trouble finding the clip. So I'm just going to type it in. Here we go. Found it. Farrakhan, don't fall for Satan. Hillary Clinton's crap. Sunday, this was at the Nation of Islam. Louis Farrakhan said, don't fall for Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's crap on African-American issues because she and her husband, former President Bill Clinton, are responsible for mass incarceration of black people. And Farrakhan said, how many of you are going to vote for Hillary Clinton? You don't have to raise your hands. I don't blame you for wanting a female president, but this is a wicked woman. And like I said, that's going to, I believe, really make waves in the black community, and I hope that it does. Okay, here we go. I finally found the video here. You can take a listen to Louis Farrakhan talking about Hillary Clinton.
I do not blame you for wanting a female president, but that's a wicked woman. Now, listen, you can vote for her, but vote for her with knowledge. She can be sweet, but so can you. And you know when you're sweet but playing a game. All of a sudden she know about Trayvon Martin. All of a sudden. The boy been dead nearly 2 years. Now she's talking about him like she met the mother and these white people, this is Satan. And you fall for that crap. Most of you that went to jail for having a little blunt in your pocket, they arranged that, the Clintons. Mass incarceration came about under the Clintons. Don't forget that. They call my young gangbangers super predators. And Black Lives Matter put it to her. She didn't know how to handle that. Call you a super predator that has no conscience, no sensitivity, like you a dog, you an animal. We got to bring you to heel. You, my young brothers, this is what she said about you. And she didn't just say it. It became law and policy of the U.S. government under Bill Clinton and her wife, his wife, and now she's apologizing. But apologizing can't bring back the broken families. Apologizing can't bring back those that have been destroyed in prison life. Apologizing you won't have to worry about coming out next week. But come out next week, Brother Ishmael will handle it. He sticks to the time. But it's because I know the time. I'm trying to get as much into your head as I can, because I want you to think when you leave here so you can save your life. Well, what about Bernie Sanders? I ain't finished with Clinton. She, in her person, orchestrated the destruction of Libya and the killing of Muammar Gaddafi.
This is Louis Farrakhan speaking the truth. I'm extremely proud to hear this from this man, compared to the things that he said in the past, which were very violent
Gaddafi
and
was
radical.
My friend. He was my brother. She lied. He was going to kill all his people. No, he wasn't. He was just going to kill those rebels that America seized on their dissatisfaction, made a counter-revolutionary move, and then used it to bring NATO in to bomb and destroy his air defense, and then move to kill him. Now Libya is a failed state. All the refugees fleeing out of Syria, fleeing out of Libya, fleeing out of North Africa is because of policies of the government of the United States of America and her specifically. Now, when they release all those emails that they haven't released yet, it'll show you how she maneuvered our president. And maybe you won't think so well of her when you see how she talked to him. White people don't talk to black people. I don't give a damn what position you got, like you the boss. They always talk to you like they're the boss. Well, the only way you'll ever be the boss if you come and submit to Allah and follow the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and come on and unite with me.
Well, of course, he is the leader of the Nation of Islam, so, I mean, it stands to reason that he would put that in there at the end there. But the point is, that is Louis Farrakhan speaking the truth about Hillary Clinton, and it's refreshing to hear that, especially from someone who has the history that he has. But it's not just Louis Farrakhan that's starting to wake up, and then hopefully starting to wake up the people around him. We got Sean Hannity as well, coming out saying that the New York Times immigration piece is a bald-faced lie. He's getting pissed off at the inauthentic Marco Rubio, which is just, I mean, I think there's going to be a backlash against Rubio. I believe he destroyed himself last week when he was coming out. I mean, he actually came out and said that Donald Trump has small hands, and insinuated that because of that, of course, he also has a small male member as well. I mean, this is the kind of stuff. I mean, what kind of person thinks that this is what you say when you're trying to get elected? I mean, just because Trump speaks his mind doesn't mean you come out and literally take a stab at Donald Trump's genitalia. I mean, this is crazy. But this came out from NBC News. Marco Rubio again unleashed an array of sharp attacks on Republican frontrunner Donald Trump, jabbing at his small hands and his spray tan in the response to Donald Trump calling him Little Rubio. Rubio conceded that Trump was taller than him, However, the Florida senator suggested Trump had small hands for his height, and you know what that means. And you know what they say about guys with small hands, quote unquote, Rubio said with a smile. That you can't trust him. And this is the kind of stuff, ladies and gentlemen, this is the kind of stuff that we see. I'm going to play this last video from Sean Hannity because he's getting upset as well with Marco Rubio. But there's so much here to go over. I can't even get to everything. I'm going to have to come to a close here for this episode. I wanted to get to the fact that Trump now is threatening to sue media for writing incorrect stories about him. They actually superimposed a wart onto the end of his nose in a picture of him. And also, Lewandowski, if Trump elected, days of backroom deals are over for the establishment. That's Rebecca Mansour from Breitbart reporting that as well. SiriusXM host and Breitbart executive chairman Stephen K. Bannon asked Lewandowski, one of the disturbing things we've seen over the last 72 hours is something quite different and something I don't believe we've seen in American history. And that is now you have the establishment of the Republican Party, the financiers, the consultant apparatus, the commensurate, whether it's Fox News or those other conservative journalists, they're basically saying, hey, we don't care if Donald Trump runs the table on Super Tuesday, and we don't care if he blows Marco Rubio out on March 15th. We're going to come up. There's all kinds of presentations being made. There's all kinds of money being raised. We're prepared to take this and take it to Stalingrad. We're prepared to go on March 16th all the way to the convention, fight him every step of the way. And by the way, if somehow he's out and we lose to Hillary Clinton because we don't have enough time to form a campaign, so be it. What do you have to say to that? What does Donald Trump's campaign have to say to the fact that you're just not running against other candidates? And Lewandowski, of course, reported, and this is the fundamental problem with the ruling class in Washington, the party bosses, the K Street crowd, the lobbyists who control all these politicians. They will do anything to maintain their power. They will do anything. They will say anything. They will spend whatever it takes because they know that if Donald Trump becomes the nominee and ultimately the president of the United States, the days of backroom deals are over. He will only be responsible to the American people. And so what you have is a series of people who've made a very, very good living by controlling politicians through their donations and making sure that they get the legislation done or not done in Washington, D.C. to best benefit their clients. And those days are coming to an end, and we have that clip as well on Breitbart News Daily. It's Corey Lewandowski. I simply don't have time to get to everything, but I do want to play with this clip from Sean Hannity. Listen, I'm going to start trying to do maybe a daily podcast if I can. I might shorten it. I used to do a 3-hour show on Saturdays, then I went to doing 2-hour shows on Mondays and Fridays. I may start trying to do around an hour-long podcast every day if I possibly can, because I think it's important to get these opinions, to get these ideas out to the public. You can agree with me or not. That's not the point of this. The point of this is that you understand that there is two sides to every story, and that you start to think about what's going on, that you get informed as a voting public. You get informed about what's going on, you understand what's going on, and you react to it in an educated way. Okay, don't just go vote for Hillary because she's a woman. Don't just go vote for Marco Rubio because the establishment Republicans tell you that's what you should do. The guy's a tool. He's a complete douchebag. Ben Stein talks about Trump being a disaster. Trump hasn't been a disaster for anything he's done in his entire life. The man is a winner. He's a success, and it's because he works, 18, 20 hours a day. 10 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours, every single day his entire life. This is what he does. He's an extremely hard worker. He's a people person. And like I said, go read Roger Stone's books, okay? They're excellent books. They're great reads. They really break down what's been going on in the Clinton and Bush dynasty over the past couple of decades. And I think we'll kind of open the window into really what's going on in Washington politics and why it's so important to get behind somebody like Donald Trump, who is basically, in my opinion, the modern-day Ronald Reagan, modern-day Thomas Jefferson, somebody who may have his own issues. I mean, he doesn't drink. He's never done any drugs. That's documented. You know, he's a good person. He's a self-made billionaire. This is what we need in the White House, not because I think he's going to be another career politician. I don't know that he'll even run for a second term. He wants to go in there and clean house and straighten out the corruption that's been going on in Washington because it's affecting him as a businessman. And if you're a business owner in America, part of the middle class, then you should care about this as well. Take a listen to Sean Hannity talking about the inauthentic Marco Rubio.
Push for immigration reform with conservative media. And it talks, by the way, it talks about my bosses at the Fox News Channel and this whole thing. And it goes on to say that Rush was at this meeting and Rush talked about it. I've known Rush Limbaugh for years. You cannot persuade Rush unless you're telling him something that's not true about a bill. It mentions other people, which I'll get to in a second. And then all of a sudden I'm looking at social media and I'm getting emails from friends of mine because I'm mentioned in this whole thing. And I'm getting angrier by the minute here because I don't like being lied about. And the insinuation in this article is that because my bosses may have had a meeting with Marco Rubio and other people that somehow I was told what position to take on the issue of immigration. That is just a blatant lie. I am proud of the fact I am 20 years at the Fox News Channel. Not one time in that 20-year period, not once, have I ever been told what position to take on any issue, including immigration reform. It says Mr. Rubio also reached out to other conservative power brokers, including radio talk show host Mark Levin. By the way, Mark Levin's one of my best friends. Do you think really that you could ever persuade Mark Levin to change his principled opinion on anything? Or Laura Ingraham, the same thing? These are friends of mine. And then it says telling them that legislation did not amount to amnesty. Fox anchors Sean Hannity and Bill O'Reilly became more supportive. Now, I will tell you this part of it, because this is just a lie. They're saying that A happened, B happened, and then Hannity changed his views, C happened. A might have happened, I don't know, I wasn't there. B never happened, and C never happened. You know, I'm very proud of my record as it relates to immigration and the need to secure our borders, with one exception. After Mitt Romney lost in, what year was it? 2012. By the way, it's probably the toughest 6 months of my broadcasting career. You want to know why? Because even my closest friends were so, I don't want to use the word depressed because that's a clinical condition. They were so disgusted and so frustrated and so angry that my wife even said she couldn't listen to me and watch my TV show for 6 months. So here I am. This is my job. I've got to plug away every day. I've got an audience to get. And the ratings went down both on radio and TV. It was a miserable time. And the argument was made right after, oh, see, it's all because Republicans can't get the Hispanic vote, And I did say out of anger, and it was quoted widely, and it was frankly just off the cuff. It wasn't anything I had really thought through, that I had evolved on the issue of immigration. Fine. If you secure the border, I don't care what you do. But I had the caveat that never gets reported. If you finally secure the border, because I'm frustrated that the border's never been secure. I don't know any, and I regret making that comment, I don't know anybody in the media today, anybody that has done more to highlight the issue, the impact of illegal immigration on this country than I have. I have taken time from my family. I've been down on the border. I can't even remember the exact number of times. I have to go back and count them. I would say at the top of my head 10 times. I've been from the Rio Grande. I've been there a couple of times. All the way across the border. All the way to San Diego. I've been out on helicopter, multiple boat rides. I've been in ATV vehicles.
All right, I think you get the point. There's more. You can go listen to it. Sean Hannity, New York Times immigration piece, a bald-faced lie, getting pissed off at inauthentic Rubio. You can listen to the whole thing. Before I go here, and like I said, I'm going to try to come back tomorrow. Today was a little scatterbrained. There's just a lot of information. I haven't been on the radio in a while. A lot of things to go over. The point is, Trump's the real deal. The establishment is scared to death, and they're lining up against him. You got Hillary Clinton coming out against him. You've got the Pope against him. You've got the mainstream media coming out against him. You've got Mitch McConnell saying that the Republicans are going to drop him like a rock. But yet the people are speaking. That's right. Charlie Spearing at Breitbart says Donald Trump crushing competitors. Earns 49% in CNN national poll, while Rubio's got 16% and Cruz has 15%. He is going to be the nominee, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to get behind him, because I'm telling you, he is the real deal. And you've been listening to The Real Deal here at the Sit and Spin Radio Network. I'm Nick O'Kelly. I'm going to try to do this a little more often here now, as there's just so much going on. This is epic times that we're living in, ladies and gentlemen. Epic political times for you to get involved and to be educated and to know what's going on. Check us out, the Sit and Spin Radio Network. You can hear all the archives at Spreaker Web Radio, SPREAKER.com. Being hosted tonight as well by RockyD.com. We appreciate that. And check us out at Facebook, Sit and Spin Radio Network. I'm Nick O'Kelly, your host for the evening. And as always, have a great night, and we'll see you next time from the Sit and Spin.